Hey guys, it's Fidget here. Just wanted to do some nightly analysis because there's no trades for me to recap as I did not trade today. I watched the market in the morning and then I believe, let's see, intraday. Yeah, I watched the market till around 12. Yeah, about 12:45. Um, and then after that, I headed off to work, and then after that we can see the market was completely dumped, but I wasn't here for that, so no recaps today. Um, but we will have some analysis on the Nasdaq, looking at the future here. So taking a look at the daily and the 4 hours, kind of key. Um, I guess since we are on the daily, I guess we'll start off. Um, once we made this consolidation in this range after we had broke down from these levels over here. I'll highlight that. So we broke down and created this tight range here, and then we finally broke back above it and tried to test that 13,000 past that 12,800 level we mentioned a few times. Um, we can see that we never made a higher high compared to these levels here, so we may continue this downtrend. If we look at this structurally, down, up, maybe we'll come back towards these levels and break lower, or potentially hold, some of these levels lower down here. But I just wanted to get that out of the way there. So anyways, now looking at the current price action in this range that we've posted again, since we're back inside of it, I'll probably delete some of these. I won't delete any of these levels for now. But now we'll go ahead and take a look at the 4 hour. We're back under this 12,475 level. Was decently strong. Acted as a demand zone each time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then today it failed. So 5 times we bounced in this zone. Today we broke under with a decent amount of sellers there and pushed us back into our old range. Now, one thing to note is that we could potentially bounce near 12,200, but I would not like to trade it at this level really, unless we get some massive bullish engulfing that pushes us back over 12,500. Reason being is because you have resistance overhead right here. If I redraw that, you'll have this resistance overhead, and if we break through that, no matter what, you have resistance overhead right here in a clear downtrend, right? Down, tried to break back up and make a higher high, which it did compared to this and compared to this, but we failed compared to that 13,600 level. We've also got CPI coming out tomorrow, which could be, decently bearish. Anyways, looking at this now that we are back into this range under this 12,500, I'm most likely looking for the two different scenarios here. So, well, I guess no, I would say four. So from here, I'd like to see some type of push back into this 12,500 or 12,475 to see a rejection to go short if we can get another leg back down past 12,200 and potentially all the way down to 12,000 or lower. If that doesn't play out and that's not a setup that comes for us, well then we may look to see if we can break down below 12,200, which would be here, and potentially have a stop around this level right here. So we'd break down under. That's what we want to see. We want to see some type of retest to try and catch a move back down. This is just another potential outcome here. So watching that 12,500 or 12,475 level in this zone here for a potential rejection. And then also watching 12,200 to see if we can break back below that. And if that doesn't happen, then maybe we get some type of bounce. But I still, probably won't long just because resistance is so short overhead. So another potential thing that could happen here would be we just bounce all the way back up and come back by 12,600, 12,700. And if that happens, I'm going to watch a few levels here. So I'll mainly watch that 12,700 and 800 just because I don't know how high it'll leg if CPI goes somehow turns the market bullish. But we'll be watching these specific levels here to see if they can make a high compared to these and then potentially push up to really test 13,000, which we wanted to see last week, but we got close to it but failed. So that's what I'll be looking for if we break back over and close over 12,500 or 12,475. I would see if that old double top or triple top level, holds. If not, then look at these other upside resistances near 12,800. On the downside, um, if the market happens to gap down and we come back close to these levels, I'm definitely watching 12,000, which was the neckline of this old inverse head and shoulders, and a decent zone. We created resistance here at 12,000 and then broke above it. So I'd like to see if we could potentially, come down here, bounce, test 12,200 again, and either come down or push back above it to try and test 12,500 again. And at that point in time, that's something I technically would like to trade just because the risk to reward there is kind of decent. 12,000 stop. If it closes over 12,200, you can potentially trade back up to 12,500. But it all depends on the exact 4-hour, 1-hour candles we get there. Especially in a downtrend, you want to be careful going long. And then if we potentially come lower than 12,000, I'd like to potentially long if we can get some bullish signal here, or if we get a breakdown and then retest here, I would like to short, potentially for a move lower. So those are all the scenarios we've got right there. So I said 4, there's a lot more than 4 right there because many things can happen. But now that we've said that, go ahead and re-highlight all of the main zones we're watching. So we're watching this one here. I'll delete these just because those are. Then we'll be watching this zone here, this zone here, this zone here, and delete that there. So I would bring that lower, and then this zone down here. So you can see that there's only, there's gaps in between these. A lot of that's going to be noise that I'm not really interested in trading. That's why I'd rather trade at these specific pivot points instead of, maybe trying to go long here and then we move down further. I stop out and then we bounce at 12,000. I'd rather trade at the bottom or the top of these ranges. Back at the daily, it's decently easy to see these levels again. That resistance zone, the resistance zone, potential support, and another potential support. And then looking at the weekly, we did move down today, but we still have that bullish engulfing down by 12,000 or 11,700, and that's why I mentioned that potential long. Even though we're at a downtrend, if something does get us bought back up down there, then I'll be interested in going long there. So now we'll kind of take a look at ES. It's decently the same setup here, except looking at this compared to Nasdaq, I would say we have a little bit less noise to trade through. For SPY here, we've got our resistance overhead at 4,077, pretty clear. Potentially here too. So highlight that. Potentially here too, and then generally have a decent amount of room down all the way to, I would say, this level right here, and then all the way down here. So these levels are pretty solid. I like these specific levels of this 4,077, and then 3,860, and then 4,150 to the upside. So this, this chart's decently a lot cleaner. The price action is a little bit easier to see here, but Nasdaq's kind of the same situation. We double bottomed, we pushed over that peak, tried to flag out to make a move higher towards this top of the range, 4,300, but we pushed back down, and now that we're in this range, we want to see if we can move all the way back down to test this level to make a lower high in somewhere in this gray area, or if we're going to break below, retest, and dump. And if that scenario comes up, like we said on Nasdaq, we will look to trade that. So these ranges are decently simple. If we put the bottom from top to bottom inside of a box, we're only going to trade it at those exact pivot points, or if it falls and breaks out of that box. So decently short analysis here. I hope that was clear. I hope you guys can learn from this type of stuff. That's why I try and make these. If and when we trade off these levels tomorrow, of course, win or lose, I will post a recap of what it what I did exactly at these levels, if I traded them. If not, I'll probably make a video explaining why or why I did not trade them, even if I didn't. So then I'll let you guys know kind of why I pass up a trade or why I don't pass up a trade, and then why I take one compared to why I don't, etc. So I hope you guys have a good night, and I hope you guys can learn something from this analysis and maybe use this in your trading tomorrow, as I will be using these exact levels and zones to help me, guide through the market. Hope you guys have a good night.